us. Okay. No, I don't ever really think about these things. Do you know why? Because, as I said, I am way past matured to even understand that all of this stuff, even though we're talking about it right now, it's not historical. It's not grounded in anything. Have you not wondered why none of Muhammad's wives, he had what, 9 wives? All this is made up, by the way. Just quickly, just put it out there. All this stuff is made up. Absolutely made up. Yeah? Aisha being his wife, this person being his wife, all this stuff is made up. Nonsense. It's not historical. It may be traditions within inside of Islam, but it's all nonsense. See, that took me to a next level to understand. Let me just show you what happened to me. Because I thought that these things were like, real. These things really did happen back in the day and so forth. Until I deep, did a deep dive. And I would say that if you are a Muslim or a Christian, definitely be a Muslim, try to do a deep dive into your hadiths to really understand how much of it is just made up. You realize that, um, Muhammad married Aisha, whether it's age 6, 9, or whatever the case is, whatever the case or age that you think these people are made up. It's not factual. It's not real. Have you ever wondered why? He had what, 9 different wives at one time? 9 wives at one time, and none of them, apart from, let's just say his first one, none of them will have any children, and the children that they did bear, they died. Have you not wondered why? What is going on here? Nobody asks this question. You're telling me what? Because you see me, yeah? I'll tell you now, give me any one of your women, yeah, for 1 month. I guarantee you I'll have them pregnant. Guarantee. Me? Huh, 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 huh. One, one drop, that's it. You're pregnant. You're telling me you have 9 women, and according to the thieves, having sex with them like, multiple times in a night, but none of them could bear a child to you, and none of them could bear a child to reach adult age. Yeah, and none of them could be male children either. Yeah, like sometimes, like I said, when you really do the research, you'll understand how much of this stuff is just made up. Mythicism, absolute mythicism. Shafi'i taught Imam Hanbal. Yep. Why you say nonsense like that? Hey, so Muslims, you are hearing that this is made up, so be a Quranist. And hadiths. If you're a Muslim, maybe become a hadith. It's like a Quranist, maybe. Um, but I was still think that being a Quranist, you will still fall short. If you really wanted to practice your religion, I think you will really fall short. I think that the next step, once you do become a Quranist, because, as I said, most people are going through a journey. If you're a Muslim and you're starting to shed the baggages, so you're shedding, these hadiths, you're shedding, once you start shedding the hadiths, you then start to shed the tafsirs, the exegesis scholars are writing. You start shedding things like the Asbab al-Nuzul. You start shedding all this stuff because you realize that these are not authentic historical documents. Once you start shedding them and you realize, okay, I don't believe in all these other stuff, but definitely the Quran, if you're Muslim, like, is my book, is my whatever the case is, then I would say the next step is to start reading it through the historical critical method, and really start understanding what does the Quran say as a document by itself. What does it say? Was it trying to teach? What is the historical context that it emerged out of? Who was the interlocutors of the Quran? Who were the Jews that they were having conversations with? Who were the Christians that they were having conversations with? What were the heresies that the Quran is polemicizing and doing all these things? When you start reading it from a historical, critical lens, I wish most Muslims would do that. I think Muslims are doing it, but unfortunately, again, the educated Muslims that have been to university, may have studied these topics, they know that if they go out into the mainstream world, they may get hung and crucified for what they're saying. Because there's plenty of Muslims, like a lot of the scholars that I read are Muslim. They even writing in Saudi Arabia, actually, I think. They're even writing in Saudi Arabia. So it's like crazy that they're writing this stuff where it's like, yo, what they're teaching right now is like Christian. They even come into the conclusion that the Quran is literally teaching Christian teachings. It's teaching Christian doctrines. And it's crazy that how Muslims are coming to that realization. Educated Muslims that deal with historical critical analysis are coming to that realization. And I loved it when, people like Solomon Doss, yeah, appears to be an Arab, says, we need to start looking at the Ethiopian context of the Quran, the Christian Ethiopian context of the Quran, because clearly it came out of that milieu. I loved it. When he dropped that, I said, other Islamic channels had to say, Kalam, I'm sorry, you were right. This, anyways, we'll discuss that another day. Previous scriptures in the building. Definitely. Like, if you are a Muslim, I don't understand how you've come into the faith of Islam, but for some reason you've left with kufr, believing what you believe. For example, you don't have the 6 articles of faith that you must believe in the prophets, you must believe in the message, the books, but then at the same time, it's like it's equivocation and double speech. We believe in the previous scriptures, but we believe that they're corrupted. It's like, huh? What the hell? What are you saying? Because if a Muslim says, I believe in the Quran, but not this Quran, the Quran that wasn't corrupted, but the Quran that we have today is corrupted, it's like, what the hell are you saying? So yeah, man. Anyways, let me quickly do this. Let me show you what I have got dropping next for you guys. Real quickly. I was supposed to drop it a long time ago, but life has been lifing me. Hopefully it should pop up soon. Yeah. Where are we? Trying to get this up for you guys. Do you believe in the theory that the Bible of Old Testament, New Testament, do you believe it also applies the same to Quran in terms of like pages of Quran and Medina pages? Do you believe in the theory that the Bible of Old Testament and New Testament, do you believe it also applies the same to Quran in terms of like, I don't know what that question means. You could rewrite that question because I don't understand what it means. But I would simply say that Mecca and Medina. I don't hold on to the Meccan and Medina division of the Quran. Um, and scholars Western academia, most of them are coming to that realization as well, where these are faulty presumptions that there are Meccan and Medinian surahs. We can see that there is, let's say, instead of calling them Mecca or Medina, let's say uh, A era and B era. There is an A and B era, so to speak. But to say that this was written in Mecca versus this being written in Medina, that's incorrect. Geographic location, they're questioning that, and they're also questioning the temporal connection as well. Like, oh, this was written first, this was written afterwards. So all of that is being questioned inside of academia. So myself, I don't hold on to that. I don't even hold on to the era, the time, the chronology that they say that it is written. Um, but yeah, we can have that conversation another day. That is a very interesting conversation. Ethiopian Abdul Muttalib thesis. Actually, this is called the Ethiopian or the Abyssinian ancestry of Muhammad. And we're going to really go into that and show you that Abdul Muttalib is of Abyssinian ancestry, which is very, very interesting. And then most people don't know about. Yeah, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm just quickly showing you a lot of it right now. Yeah, this was a great find, to be honest with you. Showing that, how can I say it? We see that there's, Muslim scholars don't hide it, that the Quraysh were intermingled with Abyssinians. The Hashimis were intermingled with the Abyssinians. Um, so yeah, it's interesting stuff. You lot can see over there. But yeah, I'm gonna do something on this really soon. I hope to kind of show you that we should really start looking into the Abyssinian context um, for Islam, because nobody is looking into the Abyssinian or the Ethiopian context. No, I'm lying. not nobody, because there's people that have looked into it. But I'm talking about mainstream on YouTube discussing it. Like, we don't really get that. We don't really get that. Because I always find it very interesting that people always say Bilal was an Abyssinian. Cool. So we know that his mom was Abyssinian and his father was an Arab. Okay. Cool. But they will label him as an Abyssinian because he was a slave. But you have people like Omar. He was of Abyssinian ancestry. Like, if you go into his ancestry, you see like multiple ancestors were Ethiopian. But for some strange reason, they don't say that he's Abyssinian, because obviously he's a Khalifa, he's a leader. So the people who are leaders, they don't want to say that they're Abyssinian. Crazy that. Even with Muhammad, like, we know that Muhammad, with this presentation, when I do show it properly, we know he's of Abyssinian ancestry. We know he spoke the Abyssinian language. We know he went to Abyssinia from a historical stance. But nobody is saying that he's Abyssinian. Crazy that. Crazy that. Absolutely crazy. I did a deep dive actually, showing what did I show? Islam during the Khalifa Rashidun and onwards phase, who are historical figures, meaning we found inscriptions or we found coins of their mention and so forth, and other literary sources of their mention. And the majority of them are of Abyssinian ancestry. And this is why I always say, like, why do we stray away say it's an Arab conquest or an Arab this, when it was clearly Abyssinians and Arabs that were participating? Even I went up to the time of Abdul Malik and he's ruler of Khorasan of the east, like Iran and all the eastern provinces. He himself was an Abyssinian. So you have all of these people from Amir ibn al-As, Abyssinian. You have Umar, who's an Abyssinian. You have people that's married in, like, all the Abbasids, sorry, the Umayyads, they married into Abyssinians as well. We have all of this stuff, but nobody is mentioning it. Everybody's like Arab, 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 Arab. I am not an Abyssinian myself, right? But I can say, boom, there is clearly an Abyssinian connection. What's sad about it is, like in the presentation that I do have here, you will see how these Abyssinians were actually treated, or the Ansars, uh, these South Arabian Yemeni tribes, Abyssinians, how they were treated. They complained. Hassan ibn Thabit claims Ansars were mistreated. They were utterly abased. When the booty was divided, it was to their exclusion, and the Quraysh ate up everything else. You'll find when you start going into this, learning this stuff, you'll understand that most people know about the Sirah of Ibn Sa'd and Ibn Hisham, but nobody don't know that there was a Sirah written by Aban, yeah, Uthman's son. And because he was speaking about these Yemeni tribes, these Abyssinians and South Arabian tribes called the Ansars, they confined that stuff to the fire straight away. They said, no, we're not having that. We're not dealing with that. Most people don't even know that all this stuff has just been hidden. Hidden. Most people don't even know, yeah, that the king of Abyssinia was calling Abdul Muttalib our sister's son. He was claiming that they were related. Muhammad's lineage is of royalty. According to this, yeah, most people don't even know this stuff. Most people don't even know, again, as I said, the Hashimis, like, man, they don't even know, you know, your mother goes back to the pure stock of Khuza, to the heroes of Sabah. Most people don't know, yeah? As I keep saying, what? Like, nobody thinks critically. Nobody thinks like, hold on, Muhammad is not a North Arabian name. That's not a Meccan name. Why does he have a South Arabian name / Abyssinian name? Huh? Why is he introducing an Abyssinian deity called Rahman to the northern Muslim, to the northern Arabs? Why is he constantly bringing stuff from the south over into northern Arabia? Nobody's asking these questions, and I'm like, sometimes, yeah, I feel so lonely, yeah, like all this. Let me just quickly show you something. Like all these individuals that are mentioned, he's saying, look, to the heroes of salvation belongs. How noble her ancestry is in the summit of splendor. Abu Shamir is one of them. And Du Jadan and Abu Jabbar are of her people. And then we go into the inscriptions. Guess who we have? We have Du Jadan. Yeah? Water and Awad. These are all Ethiopians. Look. Hear what the scholars say here. During, I don't know if it's big enough, during Abraha's reign, one named Wata and the other Awida, although one identifies both as Ethiopian by origin, the inscription states that they were affiliated with Jadan. Same thing, Zujadan, right there, right? Abishamir, all these people, yeah, were underneath the Negus, yeah? Abu Jabbar, yeah? Abraha sent him out. Look, the king sent Abi Jabbar and Kinda. Look, all these people that Islamic and poems and odes will tell you that Abdul Muttalib goes back to these people. We're all Ethiopians. But it's just like it hurts me in my heart that nobody's talking about it. Because again, most Muslims, they don't go back and learn, you know, what was going on in South Arabia and all these inscriptions and archaeology and all these things. Yeah, I do it though. I do it. Sometimes I think I'm more Muslim than Muslim. So when Christians call me out, you're just a Muslim. I